So, hey there, welcome back to Alicia Cohen Designs, where I teach you intentional planning and productivity. Today, I have something that I'm really excited to share. I had the opportunity to make a guest appearance on the Real Happy Mom podcast, and I had so much fun talking with the host, Toni-Ann Mayembe. So, let me tell you a little about Toni-Ann and what we chatted about. Toni-Ann is a full-time dentist, a reservist in the Navy, and the blogger and podcaster at Real Happy Mom. She is a wife and a boy mom that understands the struggle of juggling work and home. When she is not working, she enjoys watching WWE and watching stand-up comedy. Like I said, I really enjoyed getting to talk with Toni-Ann. She's really quite lovely. She's kind and generous, and really, I think she's my new friend. So here is what we got into in this interview. Toni-Ann and I talked about all things seasons, like personal, unique life season, and how we can use this awareness to help us tame the busyness in our lives. And also in the interview, I give you my most helpful questions for you to think about, to take a deep dive into taking a look at your season so that you can use that information to make some beneficial decisions for yourself in your life. So, I think Toni-Ann is super great, and I think you will too. Make sure after you take a listen to the interview that you check out her podcast and subscribe to her show. The link is in the description below, and also in the description below, you can find all of Toni-Ann's other links so that you can check her out, including her freebie. Yay for a freebie! She's got the Ultimate Working Mom Hacks freebie for you. And while we're talking about freebies, check out my freebie that I have for you all, also linked in the description below, the Chaos to Calm Roadmap, which has my recommended 6 steps to take and 3 steps to avoid to start squashing the overwhelm in your life. All right, let's get into the interview now. Enjoy!
Well, today I'm excited to have Alicia on the podcast. Welcome to the podcast, Alicia.
Hey, thanks so much for having me here. I'm so excited.
Yes, yes, and super excited to jump into our conversation today about this whole busyness that we seem to be experiencing a lot here as mothers. But before we jump
Yeah.
into our topic, I just wanted you to share a little bit about you and what you do.
Yeah, so I'm Alicia and I am married. I've been married for, it's crazy. It's kind of like crazy to say, but I've been married for almost 11 years, which I know if you've been married 50 years, that doesn't really sound like a long time. But for me, I'm like, wow, 11 years. That's cool. So I'm excited about that. And also, my husband and I, we have 2 little ones. We have a son and a daughter. And I'm the owner of Alicia Cohen Designs. And I also have a YouTube channel. And through my business and my YouTube channel, I teach busy moms intentional planning and productivity solutions.
Nice. And I'm all about productivity over here. So super
Yeah.
excited to have you.
Nice.
Now,
I'm excited.
yes. Now, I really wanted to talk to you and really hear what you had to say when it comes to the different seasons and life seasons that we're in. So, what are, or how would you actually just define seasons and how you're actually using the word?
Yeah, sure. Well, and I think maybe to answer this question too, I'll back up for a second and also tell you kind of like how I got to be able to be at this place where I'm talking about seasons and talking about this stuff. So I've always been a naturally organized person, but in that I never understood at that time, like, hey, I'm so organized, but why am I still so frazzled? It just made no sense to me. I felt like I was running around on a hamster wheel marathon kind of thing, like the hamster wheel marathon where you're like, do, 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 do. You're just like going, 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 exhausting. You're like exhausted all the time, never getting anywhere, but you're like working so hard. You know what I'm talking about, that kind of crazy hamster wheel marathon thing.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, yeah. And so after years and years of trying to figure out a better way to help myself and get off the hamster wheel marathon, somehow I did finally crack the code for myself. And so I got off the hamster wheel marathon finally. And then after I helped myself a few weeks later, I helped my friend. And so then I was like, well, I helped myself and I helped my friend. Maybe there are other moms out there who need some help. And so then I started putting together my system, and Alicia Cohen Designs was born. And so as part of my system, the first big part is seasons and getting really clear on seasons, which kind of leads into this question that you just asked me about knowing about our season. So to me, I say that knowing about our season is so important because it really enables us to be able to live well. And I just want to be clear too that you don't have to be clear about your season. You can just live, you're just kind of going on through life without really knowing about your season. You're going to go along and keep living whether you know about your season or not. But in my philosophy, I say if you want to live well and if you want to be living where you're focused on what matters most, then I say season clarity is essential because otherwise, I think you're just going to be spinning your wheels. When we're super clear on our season, then this just informs everything that we do. I like to call it the step zero in the whole system of planning and productivity. So for me, just starting with that season is just so important that we make sure that we're very clear in that step.
Yes, yes, I'm loving it, loving it. And when you were saying all of that, I was just thinking about how just quickly, I kinda had, like, how your life flashes before your eyes, like, I just started thinking
Yeah.
about all these different times in my life, I'm like, "Oh, yeah," like, in that season, like, I had little babies and, my
Yeah.
focus was on them, and, like, now I'm in a different place where now this course that I'm in for the Navy is taking up half of my life, but it's great, and I've
Yeah.
had to tone other things down, so, like, just thinking about, like, what is, I guess, the big overlying theme, that is happening during those times to really define those seasons, and I like how you saying how that you can like not know your season and just live, but knowing your
Right.
season helps with you to really focus on what matters most so that you're not spinning your wheels. Because I'll be honest with you, like I've done that a lot and it's not
Yeah.
good. I'm always like,
No.
this is no bueno. Like, why am I doing this to
No.
myself? So I love your step zero of defining
Yeah.
what season you're in because I
Yeah.
definitely believe that understanding that definitely helps you to really like focus and prioritize a whole lot easier afterwards.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I mean, oh, yeah, you can run around and like I said, you can live all right, but if you want to live well and you really want to kind of feel like you're you're in control and I like to say, you're running your life, not your life is running you. And if you really want to do that, just seasons are really in my book, they're just the way to go, the way to start in order to accomplish that. And just to be clear, too, for people listening out there, I'm not talking about winter, spring, summer, fall, not that kind of season. Like you were saying, it's like, oh, I got a new baby season, or I'm in this course, like you said, you're in a course for the Navy kind of season, or I'm pregnant and taking care of a toddler season, or it's soccer tournament season. It's not, it's certainly it follows the calendar seasons, those matter too, but it's way more when we're talking about seasons here today, it's way more than just winter, spring, summer, fall.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to get even more clarity on that, now that you broke it down, that it's not necessarily based on the seasons out there outside, which it
Yeah,
can be,
right, right.
but
Yeah.
can seasons have different lengths in time too as well, would you say?
Oh, yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, goodness. What's the shortest season that you could have? I don't know. I suppose depending on how aware you are and how much you're really diving deep into this season stuff, maybe you could say you have a season of a week, or maybe you can say you have a season of years. I mean, if you
Mm.
think about pregnancy as a season, well, that's 40 weeks or 9 months, give or take, for most people. And then having the season of little ones. Well, that's several years long, but then that transitions into the season of elementary school aged kids. So if we're looking at seasons with our kids, that's always going to be changing. But then if you're looking at something like a season of busy season at work or light season at work, maybe that's a few weeks or a few months. So it's really so individual and personal to it's such a unique thing, right? But there are definitely different lengths, and it just depends on, for any particular person, what's comprising that season, what's unique for that season and the components of it at that time.
Got it. Got it. Now, I'm going to use myself as an example just to help moms with
Yeah.
getting some more
Yeah,
clarity here.
please.
So, I just told you that right now I'm in this course that is it's amazing. It's all about pretty much war and how we handle war and making decisions in war. And
Hmm.
it's
Oh,
crazy because
interesting.
you're like, you're a dentist. Why are you talking about war? Good question. I don't know. But I'm in this course and it is like really, really challenging because I think in school we have been taught to think within a certain box, at least, especially as a dentist, like we're taught like these different ways and methods of doing certain things. So I'm really like cookie cutter, like tell me exactly what you want me to do, how
Mm,
it's supposed to go,
mhm.
and like I'm going to make it happen versus in this course it's really like critical thinking. It's not like a
Yeah.
right answer and it's driving me crazy because I'm like, what do you mean
Yeah.
there's no right answer? Like I don't know what to
Yeah.
say. So it's really been pushing me outside of my comfort zone. As a result, it's taken up so much of my time so that I don't have as much time as I used to have to
Yeah.
do a lot of the fun things that I used to, or to spend more time doing things for real happy moms. So knowing that, and knowing that there's other moms that are in similar situations where, like you mentioned, you know, you're in a busy season at work, or, you know, you're taking care of an aging family member and you're like their primary caretaker. So, like, that's taking up a lot of your time. And you're
Right.
already thinking, like, okay, I know what season I'm in. I'm taking care of my mom right now, or I'm taking this
Yeah.
course, or I'm in this crazy season at work. Like, I don't have time. Like, I'm too busy. Like, what would you say to help us moms with that?
Yeah, I mean, goodness, that's a tough one. When you feel when you feel too busy, it's like that expression, you're caught between a rock and a hard place kind of thing. You're too busy and you're just kind of in this season, but you don't really know what you're in. And then you need that you could use, I think, that helpful reflection, right? And you just feel too busy to do it. But I say, oh goodness, if you can please for yourself just make some time to do that reflection, it's going to pay off. Because I mean, if you're too busy generally, right? Like what I'm saying here, then my guess is that you're feeling like you're too busy for reflection. But again, this reflection is just the gold of this whole process, because it's where we're going to have the insights and the realizations, and we're just going to figure things out that we wouldn't normally figure out when we're just running around with too much going on. The reflection and the intentionality really do make a difference. And the other thing that I'll say here is that if you do have too much going on and you are too busy, my question for you would be, well, how's that working for you? And are you enjoying it? And if it's working for you, then awesome, keep on keeping on. But if there's any level of, oh my goodness, this is just bananas, or I don't like this, or whatever, any sort of sentiment like that, then again, just getting super clear on your season, I say, is the way through. Because this is, you know, you could just look at it and say, well, is this where I want to stay? Probably not. And so when you are getting clear on your season, then you're going to take a look at, well, what is going to stay and what needs to go. And that hopefully in doing this reflection, you're also going to see ways to enjoy the season you're in, because busy or not, whatever your current season is your current season. And you can choose to either be intentional aware about it or just keep going along in the swirl. But I say, let's be intentional and aware, because then that allows us to create lives where we're incorporating what matters most to us, and where, like I said before, we happen to life instead of life happening to us.
I love everything that you're just saying because I was sitting there like, please, please give me some questions to ask for this reflection. And boom, you
Yeah,
gave it to me.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
well, good.
yes. So some of those questions that you brought up is you asking, you know, how's things working for you in your current
Yeah,
situation,
yeah,
and are you enjoying it? And then another one that I liked is this where you want to stay? And I was like, oh, like
yeah,
Alicia, you getting kind of deep on me
yeah.
here. Like, wait a minute. But those are like such good questions to ask yourself. And I think like that will definitely get you a lot of clarity. And then the other big thing too, Alicia, that I love that you said is that we're gonna have to deal with the season that we're in, so we might as well enjoy it. And so you're
Yeah.
asking the questions like, are you enjoying like the season that you're in? And I guess some of the ways that we can change things so that we can begin to enjoy it, I think is so, so, so good. And I'm so glad that you brought that up because I didn't even think about it. Like all I was thinking was like, well, no, I don't enjoy it. And like I don't know what to do. But then when I thought about like what things I could possibly even change or keep doing that are working for me, I was like, oh, like I'm beginning to see the light now and it's starting
Yeah.
to make sense here.
Yeah, because some seasons are just hard. And there's no sugarcoating it. Some seasons are just hard when you're sleep deprived because you're with a newborn, or when you're worried and stressed and kind of pushed to your max because you're taking care of an elderly parent. I don't have experience, in my own life with that, but I've watched my own parents go through that with their parents, and it's hard, and it's long, and it can be, and it's just, yeah, yeah. And goodness, I've lost my train of thought here. I got all excited about talking about aging parents and stuff, but you said something that
No, we were just talking about how seasons can be hard, but you can still find something good
yes.
to make yourself enjoy it.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, sorry. There it is. See, I knew. I was like getting all in the flow and in the moment, and I was like, wait, hold on. Newborns, aging parents, hard. Where was I going? Where was I going? Come back, rein it back in, Alicia, rein it back in. Yeah. So
You
you're
got
talking
it.
about the enjoying of it because it is hard, or it can be, and sometimes it's joyful and sometimes it's happy, but sometimes it's really challenging. And I think y- you can go through that, and you will go through that one way or another. But if by reflecting on your season and just being intentional, like I'm huge on intentionality. That's my shtick. That's my thing. So if you can get intentional and just be aware, then maybe even though it's hard and even though it's challenging, you can enjoy it, or at least you can find some little silver lining or something in it to just help you be in it well and be in it joyfully, if that's possible. Maybe that's not possible, but certainly if you don't reflect and if you don't stop to get clear on your season, then it's just going to be the same old. So if you want it to be different, then you got to do something different. And that's where I say, get super clear on the seasons, know know what you've got and know what you can let go of, and know maybe some tweaks that you can make, even if it's challenging, even if it's a hard time. There's probably something that could be done to help you, even in the hard season, enjoy it or simplify, cut back, just so that you can take good care of yourself. I know you talk about, I've listened to you in another podcast. You were a guest, and I listened to you talk about self care. And, if maybe it's a hard, challenging season and you got to cut back so you can up the self care, because that's how you're going to get through and that's how you're going to enjoy it. But if you don't stop to reflect, you might miss it. You might miss the opportunity there. And so I can't talk about intentionality enough. It's just, it's just so important. I think it's my thing.
Yeah, no, intentionality is like huge. Like that was my word for the year last year because
Oh,
I
nice.
felt like I was just kind of doing things and just not really like I was there but not there kind of thing was going on. And so
Yeah.
I was like, I really want to be intentional about the things that I'm doing. And I found that once I started doing that, like, how sometimes like you'll look at your kid and you'll be like, oh my God, when did you grow up? Like, what happened?
Yeah.
You're a baby. Like I had those
Yeah.
moments like all the time. I'm like, what happened? Like, when did you grow up? So like now
Yeah.
I don't have those
Yeah.
happen to me as many times because I've been more intentional about the time that I'm spending with them so I can
Yeah.
actually see them like growing, and
Oh,
it's been
good.
beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, that's
But
so
it took
positive.
a lot
That's
of
awesome.
thank you. It took a lot of
Yeah.
work to get here. Trust me. Like I still have my
Yeah.
moments
Oh,
that I'm like, oh God, like what am I doing? But I just slow down and yeah, it's really been helpful. But I
yeah.
love all of this reflection and thinking. But you brought up in the beginning about how you help with intentionality and productivity too. So I'm just thinking about like shifting it now just a little bit. Now that we know or been able to identify the season that we're in, like what are some things that you would suggest that we begin to look at, change, or improve so that we can start to be more productive?
Yeah, I mean that's a great question. So I think if we're going to, I mean, goodness, if you get me started on planning and productivity, we'll be here, all day and all night. So let me just like I'm going to rein myself in here for a second, and let me just give you, I think, and the listeners out there, let me just give you what I think would be my most helpful questions for you to take a deep dive into to get aware of your season and just to help yourself out. Would that be good? Do you think your listeners would like that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Let's
Okay,
do it.
awesome. Okay, cool. So, first, I would say take a look at what's going on and just brain dump it, get it all out. And I know that might seem like, Alicia, I already know what's going on, but just humor me, write it all down. Just whatever's going on in your life, just get it all out, get it on paper. Because when you get it listed out on paper and then it's there like staring back at you, then you can really kind of see, oh, this is what I've got going on. This is the full extent of what I'm working with here. So that would be kind of my first question or my first step for taking a look at and trying to do something to help yourself in whatever season that you're in. And then the next step that I would say is do the same kind of brain dumping thing, but this time go after what's important to me. And you can use the first list to help you make this second list. But again, write it down, because if you have 3 things that are important to you or 57 things that are important to you, that's you're going to see that, and you're going to want to see that, because that's going to make a difference, and you're going to kind of need to be aware of that and make some tweaking for, well, how many things are important to you and is that realistic, and going down that path. So that would be my second thing, talking about or thinking about what's important to you. And then my third question would be, how am I doing right now? Like really doing. And kind of a part two to this question would be, if I had a magic wand that could make 5 things happen for me right now, what would those things be? Because with these questions, you're going to be taking a basic inventory of your current state of things, but then you're also going to start to think about if or what you want to do moving forward to impact things for the better for yourself, assuming that there, are some things that you're currently not the happiest about and that you are looking to kind of shift things. So that's what I would say. I would say, what's going on? What's important to you? How are you really doing? And then that kind of part two to that question, if you had that magic wand, what would you make happen right now? Because that will kind of direct you to, oh, well, if I had that magic wand, I would make this happen. And well, let's actually think about maybe making that a reality without the magic wand.
Oh, yeah. I love that last question because immediately when you thought about that, I was like, or said that, I was thinking, like, okay, number one, I'm gonna get someone to clean this house. Number two, I'm not doing laundry anymore. It was just like
Yeah.
everything came to me, and I was like, these are things that I've been like telling my husband, like, I really need like help with this because it's like, even though I enjoy like cleaning and things like that and organizing, like some days it gets overwhelming and I'm just like, oh, I need a
Yeah.
break, or can someone else do
Yeah.
this? So I love that
Yeah.
last question because, yeah, now I know I need to really make that happen and stop just wishing about it.
Yeah. I mean, it does help. For some reason, the magic wand element, it just allows our brain to go there. But then if we entertain that, we can think, oh, well, actually, that doesn't have to be so magical. Yeah, in your case with the cleaning or the laundry, you can either get some more help from other people in your household or hire help if that's a possibility, or just
Mhm.
shift some things around, cut some things out, whatever you need to do to be able to address it yourself, or even like get creative. Maybe you're doing laundry X number of times a week, or whatever your routine is, or cleaning. Well, maybe does that thing really need to be cleaned that often? And why do I think that thing needs to be cleaned that often? And maybe tweaking that, or there's just so many ways that you can go about being creative with it and making tweaks. But I feel like that magic wand really kind of helps us start to go there.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And Alicia, one thing that I love that you just did too was like show how we can make it possible to not
Yeah.
necessarily have that magic wand, like we can make it happen without a magic wand.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
definitely.
I think a lot of times we get into this like a funk where we're just like, well, I just don't have any help and I can't do everything. Like I'm that's a repeat thought that I have in my mind. Like I can't do everything. I
Mm.
can't do everything. And
Mhm.
yeah, like
Mhm.
I can't do everything, but I can get help. I can hire help.
Yeah.
And I think it's the way that you ask those questions that help our
Yes.
mind to be able to actually think of actual solutions versus harping on what the problem is.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yep, for sure. I love that.
Yes. So
Yep, yep,
I'm
yep.
I'm ready to really like answer these questions for real. Like you got me all excited.
Nice. Oh, good. Yay. That's awesome.
So, Alicia, you have shared so much with us today, and I really, really like this conversation that we had. So, Alicia, thank you again for coming on. This has been amazing. I really appreciate you and everything that you shared today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This has been so fun. I really appreciate getting to chat with you about this stuff. It's it's so fun for us like productivity moms to be able to talk the talk. So, thank you so much for the opportunity.
Definitely.